Age of Fantasy Skirmish. We've had some fun with Age of Fantasy Regiments, the rank and flank or block troop style of this game. Since, you can tell from the tablecloth, we're still playing Road Warrior. We've got our limited box available. I've got 3 army forces that I've compiled, and they're all about 200 points. Standard game is either 150 or 250. This is about the best I could do with the figures I've got. I've got a combined Orc and Ogre, 1 Mummified Undead, and 1 High Elf. And as you can see, the Orcs here are 220 points, the Mummified 215 and 200. That's all I could do with the figures I got for High Elves. So I got 3 forces, and the question is, which ones am I going to use? Well, I'm going to roll a die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be High Elves, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, versus the Mummified Undead. And I have to kind of finesse things just a little bit more. We'll go left to right. The Mummified Undead have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units compared to just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Elves. They're going to have a little bit of an advantage in the initiative on that score. They are led by a royal champion. That's this guy in black, this lich with the magic wand. We're going to call that, he's caster 2, we're going to call that a heavy hand weapon, so he gets 3 attacks at AP 1. He is backed up by 3 skeleton archers. I had to proxy in the guy with the scythe. We're going to call him like the leader of the unit. But they are 3 skeleton archers. They have the cursed bows with cursed ammo, which means it ignores cover and negative modifiers to hit rolls and range. How about that? We've got 3 skeleton warriors here in the back. They just have regular hand weapons. And then the 3 royal guards. So these 3 guys here, these come from Pendraken Miniatures, and it looks like one of them is kind of bent. Oh no, he's just supposed to look like that. He's a little doggy-headed dude. So these are the Mummified Undead, and those are the royal guards. Quality 3, defense 4. The archers and the warriors here, these guys are all quality 5, defense 5. The Royal Guard, quality 3, 4, they have heavy hand weapons, so no real upgrades there. Then the last thing we need to talk about over here are the mummies. See the 3 mummies? No, we only have 1 of them. I only have 1 figure. We're going to treat this as 3 figures. We're going to mark it with wounds. Each of the 3 figures has attack 2, so we're going to roll 6 2-hit dice. And as long as he's taking wounds, we're just going to drop red chips down. So that's how we're going to kind of improvise around the lack of figures on that side. On the High Elf side, we are going to go with what you see is what you get. We are led by a High Noble. He has the upgrade to Heavy Halberd, so 3 attacks. Those are rending. If he rolls a 6 on the 2-hit, it's got AP 4. He is backed by 2 individual models. Those guys are classed as Silver Cavalry. They have the lances, which count as, let's see, it gets AP 2 when charging. Wait. They don't get the free attack this time, huh? I think I'm using a new edition of the game. Well, be that as it may, we have 2 archers. Wait a minute, why do I have 2 archers? We're going to bump this up to 220, because I just realized I have 3 archers in there, don't I? Oh, I know what it is. I can take this guy out. He's holding a broken spear, so he looks like an archer. These 2 archers are individual units as well. They're really good. So we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's just a 7-to-6 ratio there. Those archers, of course, have a longer range than the skeletons at 30 inches versus 24. And then they do have hand weapons as well, so they do better in a melee fight than the... Oh, no, the skeleton archers do too. How about that? Okay, so no difference there. But they're quality 4 versus quality 5 for the undead. And then we do have 3 warriors. That's these guys here with the black swords. And those warriors have been upgraded with a sergeant, which gives that 1 model plus 1 when attacking. So we'll have to roll different colored dice when we attack with those guys. Then we move on to the terrain and the objective setup. The table itself measures 50 centimeters by 44 centimeters, a little off from the 44 inches that the rules call for. We're going to be using centimeters instead of inches, just a straight drop. So instead of moving 6 inches, you'll be moving 6 centimeters. We're going to play 6 turns, and we do have treacherous terrain today. You can move through the swamp, the boneyard, or the stream When you do, roll a d6, and there's a 1 in 6 chance you take a wound. That does not apply at the ford, which is this little discoloration, little brownish muddy spot, or the bridge. However, you cannot move through the pond, which does not block line of sight. The stream doesn't block line of sight at all. Neither does the rough going here, which merely slows you down according to the rules. I can't remember what that is. I can't remember what the rules are for the walls either. I'll have to look those up. The hill is considered rough ground. The hill does block line of sight. This template does not. The boneyard does block line of sight, as do all of the trees and the bushes. The next order of business is to place the objective markers, and I'm going to put one right there, and I'm going to roll 2d6 and a direction die to figure out how many inches away from that point the first objective marker will be placed. So 7 inches from there is going to be up here. We'll repeat the process to the west 4 inches. So number 2 will be right here. And for the third, starting in the center of the table, we're going to move southwest a total of 5 inches. I know I said centimeters. This doesn't count. Southwest looks a little something like this. That puts it in the bushes. I'm going to swing it just a little bit wide, and to keep things interesting, I'll put it right there. You can see that we are within 12, or just outside of 12 centimeters. All right, to keep this interesting as a solo wargamer. Now, normally when you're playing a game like this, you would be salivating at the prospect of coming onto the table either here or maybe even there, because that is such a secure point. I don't have an opponent. I'm not trying to outthink myself at this point. So instead, I'm going to let the dice decide which force comes on where. I'm going to roll 4 to see who comes on first. The white die will be for the elves. Whoever rolls higher is going to basically have the initiative. So the elves are going to start deploying, and I'm going to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to see where they deploy. The elves will be deploying on this side of the table, and they deploy their first figure right here. Right there. They have to deploy within 12 centimeters, which means they actually can deploy close enough to grab this objective. But that's evened out because the undead will be the same way. It looks like in order to grab an objective, you have to be within line of sight, within 3 centimeters. These are 2 centimeters across. So do the math. You've got a 7-centimeter circle that if you can have the last guy standing in there uncontested, you control it. We'll figure out how to mark that here in a little bit. The undead are going to deploy as well. There you go. Everybody's deployed. I just went alternating back and forth. The elves, of course, put their zoomies over here to race over to this side to try to pin down as many enemy forces as possible. They're going to march their swordsmen up to try and take this. The general will stay in the middle as long as possible. We just need to hold this until the end of the 6th turn. The archers are hanging back here. Remember, they've got a fairly long arch of fire. I haven't pre-measured anything yet. On the other hand, the skeletons are hoping to hold off the riders by dumping their archers back here. They've got their warriors, and then their leader is by this first objective marker, and their 3... what do they call them? The honor guard? What's the mummified dead version of that? The royal guards are back there. So that's the end of deployment, and the elves get to move first. They, of course, will move their swordsmen first. They want to keep them within 3 centimeters of this. Well, as you can see, our safe snipers are back there. We're going to put our general up front, and we're just going to defend this point for 1 turn. We can move this guy a little bit further, and then we'll alternate movement and be right back. We have alternated movement, brought the cavalry up, we brought the warriors, we brought the first of the royal guard, we brought the mummies up, and that's when play kicks over to the elves, and I had to stop because I have an elf that wants to take a shot at that mummy. That will be the activation for this elf. And yes, it's only, so 30 inches is pretty good, man. That's a long range. He's only 21 away. I couldn't find anywhere that it says there's a -1 for long range if you're shooting over half. So we just roll. I'm going to roll white dice on the attack for the elf and black die on the defense. The elf needs to hit with he's got a quality of 4 with his longbow, and the mummy has a defense of, it's only 6. So the elf hits, but the mummy defends to no avail. That means we can bring up, and I've already checked the measurement on this, we can bring up another Royal Guard to the bridge, and the elves can fire again. When it comes to shooting attacks, let's check the rules on that too. By the way, I figured out the cover. When you're in cover, you get a +1 on your defense die. When you, what was I looking up here? I was looking up friendly models block line of sight if they're in a different unit, which these swordsmen are. This archer cannot shoot at anybody over there. He's going to have to move 6. We're going to move him 5. You can't rush over. You can't charge over the walls. In other words, in order to attack a guy behind a wall, you have to be within 6 inches of him. But that's not the case here. We've hopped over this wall. We've moved 6 inches. You can move and shoot. You just can't charge and shoot. We, of course, still have line of sight, and we have range, and we're going to take another pot shot at those mummies, and this time we're going to get a hit on the archer and a fail on the mummies. So, now here's where things get interesting. Unlike the other versions of this game, when you take a hit, so he took 1 wound, we place 1 marker next to the model, and we roll a die to see what happens to that model. We'll roll the white die because, of course, it is the elf that is wounding him. We add 1. That model is now stunned, and oh, you know what? This isn't going to work. I'm going to need 2 more models. Whenever a unit with multiple wounds takes a hit, that unit is reduced by 1. So if these swordsmen lose a wound, we'll remove a figure. A second one, we'll remove the second figure. And now when we're down to just 1 model, that's when we start having to roll for this stunned effect. So that roll doesn't really mean anything. We lost 1 guy. We lost 1 hit point. We're down to our last guy. That's when we start worrying about being wounded and such. The 2 archers have gone. It is now the undead turn. And we're going to bring up, since the archers over here have gone, why don't we bring these 3 archers up, and they're going to be able to move 6 centimeters and take a shot at the lead Silver Knight. That's what they're called, right? High Nobles? Yeah, Silver Cavalry. So we have 3 skeleton archers with a quality of 5. Shooting away, they get 1 hit. The Silver Cavalry has a defense of 4 up, and he misses. So now, because we have a unit that is only 1 figure, now we roll to see what happens. And with a 5 plus the 1 wound, he's eliminated from the game. Nice shooting, guys. That's not the end of the turn, though, because the leader of the elves gets to go, and he's going to move up 6 centimeters to here and take position. He's got something in mind for next time. You know, he's got, what does he have? Does he have a spell? He's a master mage. And he gets 2 spell points. So let's drop those down. He gets 2 spell points every turn. He does not want to cast a spell because he knows that the Dark Wizard is about to. Everybody on the elves side has gone. So we'll bring this. We're just going to flood the zone, man. We're going to bring him up to here. That's 11. Then we're going to bring, oh no, we're going to leave him back here. We got to leave him back here because I want to bring my Dark Wizard up to here. He's going to hide behind the mummies so they can't shoot at him. I don't think we have a line of sight there. We do not. All right. Then he gets, because he is a caster too, he also gets 2 spell points, and he wants to try to use a spell. The way using a spell works is before attacking. So I take that to mean you can do it before you move or after you move, but you have to do it before you attack. He's got a thing called Blade Curse. If he rolls a 4 or better, then he successfully imbues 4 units with poison the next time they fight in melee. The spell's value is 1, so he has to spend 1 point to even try to cast the spell. He is successful on a 4 or better. If I want to spend another point, I can be successful on a 3 or better, and he wants to do that. This is a really good spell. Unfortunately for him, our Elf Lord is within 18 centimeters of him, is he? He's at 21. He can't. Oh, well, I was thinking he was going to dispel. If the Elf Wizard, he's actually a High Noble, was within 18 centimeters, for every chip that he spends, he could add a negative modifier to that spell. So on a 3 or better, we get it to he failed. So we saved our spell points. Good for the elves. That is the end of the round. Of course, we need to figure out how to mark our objective markers. We will use a yellow chip to demarcate that the skeletons have seized that point, and a blue for the elves down here at the bottom of your screen. To no one's surprise, it's going to be a scrum for this middle objective marker. We have 3 more turns to play, and the elves, because they finished activating last turn first, they get to activate first on the following turn. They have a difficult choice to make. Do they work their archers and give up the initiative, or do they charge these archers and knock them out of the fight? Given that they've already lost one of their silver cavalry, we're going to start with that. So we charge the 12 centimeters. I pre-measured before I started the camera to let you know. And our cavalryman is a hero. He is going to get to roll 3 attacks on the archers. And he has a quality of 3, so he gets 2 hits. The archers have to make 2 defense rolls at skeleton archers, defense at 5 up. They're going to get 1 success and 1 failure. They will lose a guy, and I'll pull the one that doesn't have a bow off of there. Now the skeletons have to choose. Do they want to counterattack or not? And if they counterattack, then if they're attacked a second time this turn, they only hit on 6s. If they don't counterattack, it's going to force the cavalry guy back a centimeter, and they can shoot their arrows at him, and he can't counterattack, which is what they're going to do. So this is one of those cases where you may not want to counterattack, even though it's like a free whack at your opponent. We'd rather take the shot. We don't want him rolling a 6 to get us back. If we're just shooting our archers, then we don't have to worry about losing another one on this turn. In fact, we're not going to do that yet. Instead, what we're going to do is bring up, we don't have poison. We're going to make him deal with our, so that's about 3 and then 9. We are going to seize the initiative and force the elves to come at us, bro. The next thing we can do is, see, the problem is if the elves get these 3 swordsmen engaged here, it does free up some shooting alleys, which may be the best bet. Let's go ahead and do that. We don't need to seize point 2 on turn 2. We're going to hit this guy with 3 attacks. And our warriors are quality 3. So they're going to get 3 hits on that single model. And that single model, now he has to survive this. The Royal Guard has a defense of 4. And he is going to save 1 of those hits. He takes 2 wounds, so we'll mark that. And because he is a single model, he is maybe stunned. We're going to roll a d6. And on a 6, he's out of the fight. But we add 1 for each of the wounds he has taken. So with a 5, he is merely stunned. That is not good for the elves, because they now have the issue of, and because he's stunned, I don't think he can counterattack. Then it is the elves' turn, and the elves are going to, do we use our big boy leader? He's safe for the moment. I think we need to fire with our archers. We're going to take a shot at this guy. He's really tough and super scary. And if we can knock him out with a lucky shot, so we get the 6 we hit, he is on the defense, and he rolls a 1, so he fails. The result is a 4, which means he has taken 1 wound, and he is stunned. But he hasn't activated this turn. So I'm not sure what that means. In fact, maybe we want to activate him right now. Let's go ahead and activate him. He spends his entire activation standing back up. He can continue operating on the next turn. And what that does is it forces the elves to take a second shot at him. And with a quality of, the archer has a quality of 4, that's going to be a miss. And that couldn't have gone better for them, could it? We can bring up our, at the beginning of the turn, this guy gets 2, and this guy gets 2. So we can do some more spell flinging. We have the warriors, the mummies, the royal guard, and our leader to go yet. I think we'll go ahead and bring our skeleton warriors up to here to run interference for the troops behind them. We're going to screen our advance, and we'll pull them back just a little bit like that, because that one guy was a little further. Yeah, something like that. I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. And they're basically acting as a screen on turn number 3. The last guy for the elves is this guy, and he's got some potential. We're going to cast Drain. I forgot, this enemy gets pushed back 1 centimeter as he's stunned, because he was the guy that moved it. No, he's only stunned. These guys have to fall back the 1 centimeter. The Elf Champion will cast a spell at +1. He is going to try to eliminate this guy on the ground. Normally on a 4-up. So this is called Drain. He takes 1 hit with AP 1, and with a result of a 1, that spell is a failure. We want to save a couple of these points because we know that Dread Wizard is coming. In the meantime, the 2 surviving mummies are going to go, let's see, that's 5. And then to 12, we'll put this mummy right here, blocking the objective. Now, he doesn't seize the objective because these swordsmen are contesting it here at the end of the second round. But it's not the end of the second round, is it? Because we still have another Royal Guard who can move to here. Friends don't block friends' movement. And then our leader can move 6 inches to here. And now he is within 18 centimeters of the elf wizard. But that's okay. We're going to try to cast target enemy unit within 6 inches. That won't do us any good. We'll try Blade Cursing. Nah, actually, I'm going to hang on to my points. The undead guy wants to be able to dispel anything. And now that I think about it, this is really dumb. We should have just walked up and conked him on the head. That would have eliminated him. And it would have kept us in the fight a little bit more. Are we learning yet? Yeah, we're learning. I think we're done with the turn, aren't we? Yeah, it's the end of turn number 2. Turn number 3 shows up, and we have to... No, I forgot. These archers get to take a couple of shots, don't they? We get 1 hit with a 6, and with a 6, that hit will be blocked. So the Silver Cavalry has lived to fight another day. The elves get to go first. And, man, I guess so we take our 2 spell points. And why don't we do what we... Oh, but if we move our leader up here... I want to help one of my guys out. Target 2 enemy units within 18 inches. No, I don't like that. Drain target enemy model with a 9. So, I have to... Who's within 9 inches? I don't have line of sight to anybody. Oh, the undead have really done this well. 4 friendly units within 12 inches get +1 to defense. I don't like that either. 2 enemy units within 18 inches. So we can move to here, maybe? Now, it's before you attack. We can cast the spell. We'll target 2 enemy units within... Target enemy model within 9 inches. The leader is at 11. He's too far away. Now we do have line of sight to the mummy. So we're going to try to cast a level 1 spell. And we're going to pump it by 2. And that's going to... Oh, I forgot to give him 2 more too as well. We're going to pump it by 2. The undead, he gets 2, and he's going to spend 1 right now to reduce that by 1. So it's successful on a 4-up. And with a 1, the elf blows that spell. But he does, I think, still get to attack. And he's got a quality of, there's the roll, is a 3. He's got a quality of 3. So this guy, does he make a defense roll? I think he does. on a 4-up. He gets it, and our leader has to back off a step. The phrasing is a little bit confusing. It says if he takes any hits, which means if you do it with you don't roll and then add and see if he's stunned or not. If you're stunned and you take a hit, you fail your defense roll, then you're out of the fight. He's gone. Now, do we go with the archers first? Or do we bring the mummy in to fight these guys? Alternatively, we can bring this champion charging on in, and that's what I really want to do, because he's really tough. Kablow. He's going to fight these 3 guys, and that undead champion will have... he's a royal guard. He's got 1 attack with a heavy hand weapon, quality 3. Ooh, you're going up against 3, really? All right, I like it. He's going to get a hit. We'll call that a 6. And the royal guard are going to defend on a... Not the royal guard. The warriors defend on a 5, meaning he successfully eliminates 1 elf. And then he has to fall back the 1 centimeter. Now, you see there's a line here, so we will... We're going to go... Ooh, do we want to counterattack against this guy? We've only got 2 attacks, but we are at quality 4. Let's give it a shot. We get 1 hit, and he defends on a 4. So he fails, so he takes his first wound, and the result is a 3. First wound. He falls down, and then our guys have to back off a centimeter. So we'll back him off to there. And then he lays down, and it is now, so that was them. He'll stand up, which will delay things a little bit, and our cavalry guy is going to try to win this fight. The silver cavalry, of course, has a single attack, and with the result of a 2, he is going to fail. The archers will allow him to fall back because they're going to shoot back at him, but first we're going to move the 6. This is as close as we can get. Like I said, you can't charge over the wall, but that's all right because we're distracting these guys, and they're going to have to take some shots. Is anybody left? He's already gone. They've gone. It's just these archers. So the first archer will attack on a 4-up, and he will miss. And then our mummy will move in to attack these swordsmen. Now, there are only 2 figures there. Technically, they have a quality of 5, so I only rolled 2 dice this time. They miss both, and he's got to back off. And then the other archer will take a shot. And with a result of a 5, he will hit. And the defense roll of a 3 is going to fail for those skeleton warriors. They have a defense of 5, so they lose 1 figure. That's it for the elves. Who's left for the undead? This guy is the last... Well, no, there's actually 2 figures. He's going to scamper across, plant himself right here. Yeah, that works. And then our big boy is going to step back, and he's going to spend 2 spell points to try to get that poison off. Target 4 friendly units. 1, 2, 3, 4. These units, if we can roll high enough, and 2, man, the wizards are just having a rough go of it. That's going to end the turn. No, we don't. We have 1 more shot back here, don't we? We get a single hit, and that hit is going to... the silver has a defense of 4, do nothing. And here we are, sliding into turn number... Man, I hope this is turn number 4. If it's turn number 3, I'm going to hear about it. My skeletons started over here, and they moved up 1, 2, and then 3 to here. Yeah, so this is turn number 4. Once again, the elves finished their... You need 2 spell points. They finished their activation first, so they are going to activate first this time, and we need to go big or go home. We are going to target 2 enemy units within 12 inches to take 2 hits each. We'll move... This just feels wrong to me. I can bring my leader up here to get in a fight behind the tree. I'm going to knock the tree down just so you can see what's going on. Anytime before combat, can you move and cast spells? This seems like a pretty big deal, but it hasn't affected the game yet because our spellcasters are so terrible. If we cast Quench, that takes 2 spell points. And we're going to go ourselves +1. 2 enemy units take 2 hits each. Oh, no. I forgot. This guy's going to throw -2 in because he wants to stop that. So we are at +1. We're at a -1 on the roll, and a 5 will be successful. So we're going to hit 2 enemy units. They get quenched. They take 2 hits. Those are hits, so I have to roll 2 dice. The black will be for the guy on the ground. The red will be for the guy on the point. And they are both defending at 4 or better. So the guy on the ground survives. This guy is stunned again, and he takes a second wound, in other words, and we have to roll the d6, add 2, and on a 3, he is still in the fight. It's only on a 6 or better that you are eliminated. So that didn't do a whole lot. Now we got to fight the good fight. The elf rolls to attack, and he fails to hit. The undead guy is going to attack back. He's going to fail, so now he will only hit on 6s, but the wizard has to fall back 1 centimeter. He falls back far enough. He doesn't want to get targeted by a spell. That was the first activation. The second activation will be, and you know what? Come to think of it, the elves are all far enough away that the undead will have seized this point at the end of turn number 3. So the only hope that the elves have is to kill all 4 of these guys. Oh, that's gonna be rough, but not completely undoable. We are gonna fight. We'll fire with the archers, taking a pot shot. We're gonna get a couple of hits with those skeleton archers. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's quality 5. We got 1 hit, and that is blocked. That being the case, we're going to turn around and we're going to charge this guy. Yeah, I don't know that we have enough attacks to pull this off. We're going to have to attack this guy. It's the only chance we got. We rolled a hit and we succeed. Our silver boy has an attack of 4. The guy on the ground gets a 5, and that will be a successful defense. When you take wounds, I feel like if you take a wound, you should be having a -1 on all your rolls. Whenever units take at least 1 wound, roll, pushing back groups of wounded, morale 1 to test. Now, I haven't had to check morale yet because everybody still has most of their units on the table. Because he failed, he falls back 1, the silver cavalry. We're going to stand this guy up. He says, come at me. And then we will take we're going to have to fight our way through him. So we move up, the elves move up, they take a couple of whacks at him, and with Snake Eyes, they get nothing. He can counterattack as his first attack of the day. He gets nothing as well. Let's stand you up, because there's really nothing to see over there, is there? And that means these guys fall back. The mummy can go. The mummy can try to drive these guys off. The mummies get 2 attacks with a 2 and a 5. They get a single hit. The blade guys have a defense of... Those warriors have a defense of 5. They lose their second member of their party. But they're still on the table. The mummy has to fade back. Then we have our leader is going to cast a spell. He's just going to roll for the 4 up. He is going to try to hit this old boy. And with a 3, he's going to fail. He needed a 4 up. He was trying to blast him with a spell with AP 1. Didn't work. So then our archer gets to take a shot. He's going to hit. The skeleton is going to, with his defense of 5, fail. So the second one is gone. And then this last skeleton is going to move and attack. And he hits. The elf archer is going to fail, even with the +1. And we roll a d6 to find out what happened to him. On a 4, he is just laying down with a single wound. He will stand up, and that will end the game. No, you know what? Because the elf got in there, And confused matters. This goes back to neutral, and I think we wind up with a tie that the contested... well, the only other chance we have, I think these guys haven't fired yet. This is the only hope the undead have of winning. They're going to score a single hit. The guy they're shooting at is going to pass his defense with 4. Yeah, so this ends up in a tie. Wow, super exciting, fun game, guys. I'm not sure exactly why that was a tie. It seems like the way the game starts really plays a big role in this. The random location for the objective markers meant that it was always going to be a scrum in the middle. You know, I suppose... Oh, you know what I missed? This was a mistake. We should have sent that cavalryman riding around to try to grab this. If we had done this, it would have pulled some of the undead over to here, which might have made this a much more fair fight. I have to remember, the cavalry have speed. Use it. That's the advantage of being able to pull off from your melee. All right, it's my first time playing Age of Fantasy Le Skirmish. And they call it one-page rules, but I'm constantly going back to the 15-page rule set. I mean, 15 pages isn't all that much, let's be honest. But it is more than 2. The cheat sheet is 1 page, although, you know, chainmail is a 1-page rule set if you're considering the quick reference sheet the rules. You know what I'm saying? Hey, until next time, guys, I'm praying for you.